Hello, everyone. It's Shane Conto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the Streaming Wasteland here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where each Friday I choose a streaming service. This particular week, it's going to be HBO Max, and I pick three previously released films off of it. And hopefully, by the end of this weekend, you have a nice full weekend of movies to go check out. And let's get started. As I mentioned, we're going to be focusing on HBO Max, which is such a rich collection of different types of film. So, this is always a hard one for me to narrow down exactly what I want to highlight here. But we're going to get started with 1939's grand musical fantasy adventure, and that is The Wizard of Oz. This is based off of L. Frank Baum's classic story that wound up just capturing the absolute wonder of audiences back in 1939 with its sepia toned Kansas and its gorgeous Technicolor Oz in a way that was just never seen before. And this is a wild concoction of studio filmmaking with there's like 20 plus people credited on working on the script from adaptations, and like five different directors had their hands in this, with Victor Fleming getting the main credit. And this is the classic tale of young Dorothy Gale and her dog Toto are swept away by a tornado from their Kansas farm to the magical land of Oz and embark on a quest with three new friends to see the wizard who can return her home and fulfill the other's wishes. And so many of you have seen the other side of this tale in Wicked for Good recently. But this would be a good reason why I would tackle this film this week. And this is one of the greatest fantasies ever put to film. Live action fantasy is such a challenging genre to get right. You need to have your audience buy into this fantasy world. And we buy into Oz. The incredible Technicolor, the impressive production design, and just this crazy world full of wonderful characters just whisks us away on that on the Krista. And we land right down on top of an evil witch and the iconic witch of all time, the Wicked Witch of the West. It shows up in all of her black clothes and green skin glory, played by Margaret Hamilton perfectly. You have Judy Garland as Dorothy, the iconic star, and in her early years here performing and giving one of the greatest songs of all time, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And this film is full of catchy and fun musical numbers. It's absolutely wondrous with the costumes and makeup and hairstyling and production design from the yellow brick road starting in the Munchkin Land all the way to the Witch's Castle to the Emerald City of Oz and everything in between. You have wonderful performances from Ray Bolger as the Scarecrow, Jack Haley as the Tin Man, and Bert Lahr as the Cowardly Lion. These iconic characters who we have all fallen in love with. Frank Morgan, who's an absolute wonder as the wizard, the man behind this giant charade that is the Wizard of Oz. The special effects in this are incredible. The effects that bring the giant head and the man behind the curtain to life. You have flying monkeys and trees throwing apples and all kinds of shenanigans along the way. This is an absolutely wondrous adventure that clocks in about hour 45 and feels like it's 2 seconds because it just flies by in such a wonderful, engaging, and beautiful way. This is old Hollywood filmmaking at its best with all the dark secrets behind the scenes, but it is something that is absolutely wondrous. Next up, we have an old school noir from 1947. It is Out of the Past. And this is from director Jacques Tourneur and starring Robert Mitchum, Jane Greer, and Kirk Douglas, as this tells the story of a private eye escapes his past to run a gas station in a small town, but his past catches up with him. Now he must return to the big city, world of danger, corruption, double crosses, and duplicitous dames. Yes, it's James here. It's 1940 in a noir film. But no, we have this film that is one of the prototypical film noir, as you have this man who took this life behind him, trying to live a quiet life in a small town. And Robert Mitchum plays this character perfectly, giving that great presence that he had as a performer. He's just an everyman, but then he has this dark past, this dark edge. You have Jane Greer, who pops up there, this femme fatale from his past, and this dark, dangerous character coming back from his past, played by Kirk Douglas. This film that is fascinating. It's engrossing. It has interesting nonlinear storytelling that brings the story of Jeff, our gas station owner here, to life. And Cornell just understands how to leverage this crisp black and white cinematography, the lighting, the shadow, all of it. Impressive cast. And this has all of those trappings of a film noir that you want out of a story like this, that just hits a nerve and paints this dark, dangerous, thrilling picture that grabs you from the beginning and never lets you go. There's that connection between Mitchum and Greer. There's this dark history between Mitchum and Douglas. There's just something here that's dark and looming and ominous. It's mysterious. It keeps you on your toes. That's one of the best things, is this film keeps you guessing exactly where it's going to go. It's a fascinating noir and a great example of this fantastic genre, and certainly worth a watch. Lastly, we're going to jump on over to 1989, and we are in December. This is the first episode of December 2025. So, my attempt will be at least one film on each of these lists will be of the holiday variety and getting us in the mood for the season. And in 1989, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation came to the big screen and has become a holiday classic for many. The Griswold family plans for a big family Christmas, predictably turns into a big disaster. And this is from director Jeremiah S. Chechik, but written by John Hughes. And the big selling point, of course, is Chevy Chase as Clark Griswold. You have Beverly D'Angelo as Ellen Griswold. This time around, you have Juliette Lewis and Johnny Galecki as Audrey and Rusty, and a whole bunch of fun performances from the grandparents, whether it's John Randolph, Diane Ladd, E.G. Marshall, Horace Roberts, and of course, Cousin Eddie, Randy Quaid thrown in there too. And this is a classic story of Christmas with all types of wild shenanigans, whether it's all the wildness that it takes to get your Christmas tree, cooking a turkey, what happens when you don't get that Christmas bonus you want, and all types of shenanigans, like, putting your lights up and how dangerous that can be. Let's just say not everybody makes it out okay from this Christmas vacation. This is a disastrous, wild ride full of laughs from start to finish, and has very relatable elements of just dealing with family at the holidays. And that is something that this film just captures so perfectly well and engages you from start to finish. This is such a wild ride, full of, it has that heart too, but this is really that Chevy Chase kind of sarcasm. And Clark is, such a good guy on the surface, but you have that like biting personality of Chase underneath that brings his tongue-in-cheek approach to this comedy. And a great cast and some sharp writing from John Hughes makes this such a wild and charming and fun way to celebrate the holidays. This is one that I watched later in life. I was already an adult by the time I saw this for the first time, but I am not surprised that this has become one that really struck a chord with me right away. So if you haven't seen this one yet, maybe this is going to float into that holiday rotation for you. It is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. But that is a wrap here on another episode of the Streaming Wasteland. Let's do a little summation here because we're going to be looking at HBO Max this week, and we're going to go back to 1939's The Wizard of Oz, 1947's Out of the Past, and 1989's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Thanks for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What is your favorite classic fantasy? What is your favorite go to noir? And what are you going to be watching this holiday season? Of course, mine's always The Muppet Christmas Carol. And make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding. We have so many great shows with all types of interest. And of course, if you love movies, there's plenty of that. But if you want to join the crew, whether by being a guest on one of these shows or you have an idea for a podcast you want to start on your own, make sure to reach out to us on our website. And if you like our logo, check out HiFlyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Streaming Wasteland here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.